The NPA's Investigating Directorate has been given the green light to freeze more than R1 billion assets of former Eskom executives and suppliers. The Gauteng Division of the High Court made the ruling. The executives include Hlakudi and Abram Masango. Their spouses' assets and family trusts have also been included in the restraint order. Hlakudi, Masango and others are facing corruption and fraud charges. Let's speak now to the Investigating Directorate's Sindisiwe Seboka, who joins me now for an update on that situation. Cindy, this is a massive, it's a big order. 1.4 billion rand in assets, including family trusts as well as the assets of spouses of the people involved in this case. Why did you believe you needed to move in this direction of preserving these assets?
So what the Investigating Directorate's strategy in dealing with corruption in order to try and recoup some of the lost amounts of money is that after criminal cases have actually been enrolled, we then tackle the SARS leg, because what the ID is a one-stop shop. We've got the AFU within the ID, which then takes the matter before court, where we either opt for a Chapter 5 or a Chapter 6 application, where we request the courts to please preserve the assets, either pending the finalization of a court criminal case or on a balance of probabilities. In this instance, we've then decided to preserve the assets pending the finalization of the criminal case that is currently before the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court, or Specialized Crimes Court rather, returning on the 1st of June.
Naturally, as lay people, we start asking ourselves that, you know, is the fact that you've been granted this preservation order, is it any commentary or measure of the strength of your case? What does it say to you as prosecutors?
Definitely, it says that a court of law believes that we have reasonable grounds to restrain or preserve the assets pending the finalization of a criminal case, because they also see that there is merits to what we're arguing. So this also then in part assists the SARS case, because two of the accused, which we allege assisted in the laundering of the money from the Eskom, Eskom contractors to the Eskom executives, we believe that his company was the one used to facilitate his in the Pretoria Regional Court for a separate SARS matter of 5 million. Then there's an additional somebody, one of the Eskom executives, who's in another SARS matter for 30 million just this month, or last month rather. The regional court said that the fraud charge should stay. So what we're doing is a multi-pronged approach. We arrest them criminally. We also preserve the assets so that they're not dissipated. And additionally, we charge them. If you're running legitimate companies, then you ought to pay the South African Revenue Services.
So does that explain, Cindy, the fact that, you know, in terms of what we've been reporting around that case of Gusile and the corruption there, we've been talking about 745 million rand in terms of the quantum that we've been saying was involved, but the preservation order is for assets to the tune of 1.4 billion rand.
So to first explain how we exactly got to the 1.4 billion. The initial contract was about 710, and we believe that there was a lot of collusion in order to get to the 710.
Cindy, you seem to be... Yeah, I've got you now. You're saying initially you were talking about 710 million rand and you believed there was a lot of collusion.
Yes. So we initially thought that the contract was 710, and then there was collusion for it to be escalated. It then ended up at 1.4 billion rather. Hence the preservation order for 1.4 billion. We're saying that that's the material benefit that the Eskom executives as well as the contractors benefited in this particular matter.
All right. Before I lose the network connection once more, Cindy, tell us what the implications are of this preservation order. It's wide-ranging. It includes not only these former executives and contractors, but also their family, their spouses' assets, as well as family trusts. What exactly does it mean that you have this preservation order in relation to those assets?
So what it means is that the accused, all 5 accused, as well as their spouses' assets, the family trusts, and one of the accused, Abram Masango, we saw that he has a 1/8 share in a property in Lightenburg. So that property is also attached. He co-owns it with various other persons, so they're implicated because of this. We also found that some of the trustees of the other trusts owned by the executives have additional other family members, relatives, and. So they're also implicated in the restraint. So all of these people will not be able to handle these assets pending the finalization of the criminal case.
Lastly, Cindy, what about the situation with Michael Lomas, who was arrested in April in London? What's the latest you can say there in efforts to try and get him back to face justice in South Africa?
We must also state that he's actually one of the reasons that the case has been delayed, because our strong belief that he's a pivotal part of that corruption case that's in the Palm Road Specialized Crimes Court. So his case management is back on the 20th of May in London at the Westminster's Magistrates Court, and then a decision moving forward about how the case will proceed, his extradition case will proceed. And then we're basically taking the cue from the UK central authorities who are assisting, which we're quite thankful for, and the UK court.
That is the spokesperson for the Investigating Directorate at the NPA, Sindisiwe Seboka. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon here on ENCA, an update on that all-important story around the corruption that is being investigated at Eskom.